self-centered, unconcerned, selfish with regards to their environment. Trying to be brief from point to point. But if I give you a couple seconds to think about it, you can start beginning, if you use your intellect, you can start processing how far that statement, what we've just mentioned, how far that can go. So I'm being fair, let's try to bring forth some examples, right? You guys were just using some skills earlier, right, as you mentioned. So let's tap right back into that which you were utilizing earlier. It's not necessarily a role play, but ask the one who's sleeping, see if he can jump right in. Give me something. Now you gotta sit up a little bit. Give me something that if you were to get it, or a person, doesn't necessarily have to be you, that a person may desire to have, and that if that person gets it, and you give me something that you witnessed from somebody, yourself or other than yourself, if they get it, or in trying to get it, they don't care about anything or anyone else around them until they get that thing. And when they get it, even if it's harmful to someone else in getting it, they don't care as long as they've gotten it. Give me an example. Give me one thing or two things that you witnessed have had that type of effect on a person. You don't have it? Okay.
Fight over it every day. They fight over it every day. You got something plain and simple. What are you here for? Like, what is this, a job, right?
Money.
So what do people get at the expense of others, whether it's others' happiness, whatever? One of the things that I would think you would know is money. You've seen guys turn bad things for money, right?
Okay, yeah, you gotta step into the reality. You gotta step into the reality. Money. And I'll generalize it. Anything, what is money? What is money?
Paper.
That you know. So he said paper. I have a car. Is it made out of paper? Is that money? All right, now you get it, right? If I have a house,
It's valuable.
there you go. Wealth. Anything that has a value. And this is important that you really understand what wealth is, okay? Because if you restrict yourself to thinking it's just paper, I'm not belittling your point, but that's the perception. But the reality is, we can all remove that thought if we just say, why do you want paper? Why do you even want money? Do you get money to stash it only? What's the use of it? What's the use of it if you got it and you only stashed it? What value is it? It's something very important that I'm getting ready to mention. Very easy to understand. Even though people, they've lost the reality of it. Okay? It's always something more valuable than that money because you're getting it to get something else. If it was the end of what is valuable, you will get it and you will stop. You will get it and you will stop. Meaning, you wouldn't purchase a thing. You will be walking around naked, no haircut, no anything, with money stashed somewhere. Would you walk around the street like that? Would you strip naked, walk down the block, no haircut, no good hygiene, nothing? Would they, if you did, would they let you stay on the street like that?
Yeah.
They would? No, hold on. You got it. Don't answer if you don't have. You could be wrong or right, but don't throw something out there and think that I might not address it. We don't want to waste words. We don't want to waste words. Time is too valuable, and they overlap. Words overlap with time. You don't want to waste it. Wasted word is wasted time. So, answer. Would they let you? And if you say, yeah, I'm just going to say, elaborate. I might think differently. I might be able to come to where you're thinking. And we might be able to think about it together. But if I understand it to be wrong, and others understand it to be wrong, rest assured, there comes the debate. There comes the debate. And it's okay. We're not talking about the debate that starts wars. We're talking about the debate that rectifies things and sets things right. That's what conversation, that's what talking, that's what debating is supposed to be in reality. It's not supposed to breed wars. But it does when we go back to that self-centered, selfish, unconcerned mentality and state of being that the people have fallen into. That's where people die without any reason. People are killed without any reason. No justification. Right? So, man's walking down the street, woman's walking down the street, the ungroomed, all of that, naked. And you walk up to them and they say, leave me alone. Don't you know I'm rich? How much more insane would you think the person was? But they're telling the truth. But how much more insane would you think you're rich and this is your condition? You have the means and this is your condition? To be what? The means to be what? To be honorable. To be noble. To portray self-respect. You have the wealth to do that. You have the ability to hide many of your defects just by utilizing your wealth properly because you're rich. Go back to that which is most valuable. We go to the intellect, right? What do you mean? And yet we are unable to do that. Because we think things are more valuable than the things that are truly valuable. It's misplaced wealth. Or your perception is misplaced regarding wealth. So the one who understands the importance of knowledge, their intellect, you see them functioning a bit different. But they can still be affected. But you see them functioning a bit differently. Which I'll go to the next point 3. So we said we have needs and we have desires. Okay, and I have to force myself. I said I don't want to elaborate on one thing too much. I just want to try to paint something visual. So as to give you something to first think about. Because that's the first problem. We don't even like to think. You don't like to think. You don't even care if you don't like me saying you don't like to think. How are you going to tell me? Okay, I'm not going to tell you anything, but I'm going to tell you, typically, we don't care enough to think about things that we should think about. And one of them, to keep it relevant, is the environment in which we live and the condition of the environment in which we live. Okay. So if we know people do all of those things for wealth and money, we are so self-centered that we can walk through that nonsense all day, every day, And before we think about whether or not we should be doing something to change it, we will be thinking about what can I do to be on top within that nonsense. What can I do to be on top? What can I do to be the leader of nonsense? What can I do to be a kingpin in the realm of nonsense? What can I do to have the best car? What can I do to have the best this? What can I do to have the best that? According to that environment and the way that that environment functions negatively. We would sooner give thought to that rather than how can I break free from that, do something different, and produce something different. You got that? 3 things I just mentioned. Anyone tell me one of those 3 things?
Desire.
Not those, what I just said before I ask the question. Break free. Do something different. Produce something different. Again, because if I break free, but I do the same thing, am I going to produce anything different?
No.
I'm going to produce the same environment somewhere else. You think I'm joking? You take a little, I spent a lot of time, and I don't want to make this about me in that context either, but I'm going to mention something about me. I spent 7 years going into juvenile detention centers in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, teaching them Islam in particular, but as a means to reform and rectify the thought processes, the conditions, etc. of the youth. So if you think, how does, sometimes we'll talk, that woke you up, how made you waking up? I'm not even going to answer your question. I'm not even going to repeat. That just means you woke up a little bit. That's better for me and you. But if I have to, I would. I'm not rude. So, point being, spent a lot of time going into juvenile detention centers. And if I told you some of the stories and the narratives and the things that happened and that they went through, you'd be amazed. I don't care what you saw, you'll be amazed. Okay? Point being, how does the urban Philadelphia ghetto environment enter into a suburban, safeguarded, wealthy, not impoverished, meaning poor, environment? How does that situation get into the other situation? Someone broke free, but didn't do anything different. Because they had to take it with them. Either way. Huh? If kids from the city, people from the city ain't going to them. No. But what environment was the other people in? Their environment was okay. It was better. If they wanted to produce something better, they had the potential to do so. They left that environment not caring, not concerned with the benefit of that environment, and they put themselves into another environment. And they partook of the actions of that environment. And then they took it back to the environment that they were in. And then you see the infection continues, began, and it continues. It's an infection. That environment that you see, and when I'm keep it in context, I'm talking about the negative. The thing that, how do I escape? How do I do anything different? That environment that you see, that you witness day in and day out, that you walk through, that you hear about, that you conversate about, that you make jokes about, that you laugh about, that you think is okay from time to time until it hits you real hard and then you don't agree with it. until it hits you real hard and then you don't agree with it. But I news, even if you don't feel as though it's hitting you hard, it's hitting you hard. And again, I'm going to keep it relevant because it's preventing you from using your intellect properly. Because you're loving the wrong stuff, you're hating the wrong stuff. I don't use stuff loosely. You're hating and loving the wrong things. You're preferring the wrong things. And there's reasons for that. And he and I talked about some of those things in our conversation that made him interested and curious and consider asking me to come and speak to you. But perhaps that's another conversation to bring those things in. So point 3. We have needs, we have desires, and then we have, I want to keep them in order of my talking points here, okay? There we go. I'll mention them. 3, 4, and 5. Ignorance,